You're really talking about Sonic again? No? Yes? Kind of? So, this is my Genesis collection, and I figured we could just talk about it, because why not? And you don't have a choice, because you clicked on the video. So I picked this up at one of my local video game retro stores, and I kind of had to sell like an arm and a leg for it. I sold, I think it was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for PS5. I played it, beat it, it was fine, but it was worth quite a bit. So I was like, man, I picked it up for $60 right here, and I was like, oh, I only had about like $40 in cash, so I was like, it's fine. And I got it at such a decent price because, oh boy, yeah, the reset button just does not work at all. And now, yeah, actually, now that I look at it, it's got this weird thing here. I don't know, but I didn't really mind the reset button not being all that great. So I was just like, well, it's fine, I guess. I mean, if it's a working Genesis, it's fine. This is a Model 2, not the original model that most people are familiar with. I'm a Sonic fan, and it'd be kind of weird not to have one. And it's pretty cheap to collect for the games themselves, so I was like, hey, let's do it. So what came with the Genesis was a controller, of course. Yeah, I mean, it worked just fine. I guess each of them individually are like worth 10, $15. But yeah, this one worked perfectly, and I had no problems with it. I mean, I always thought they were a lot bigger, but I just was really cool to actually use use real hardware. And I think this controller is pretty cool, especially if you're a lobster. Now, for everyone's favorite part, the video games. So yeah, when I first bought the Sega Genesis, I was like, well, I need some games for it. And the one video game store that I went to had some pretty expensive games for the time. Like, they were like only complete in box, so they were $30. And honestly, at the time, I didn't really care if they were complete in box or not. So I was like, well, I need something. So I went to the other video game store around in my town, and I was like, well, they got some pretty cheap ones here, and yeah, so I picked out these guys. Miss Pac-Man was $2.99, I believe. Mortal Kombat was $4.99, which was pretty good steal. And I think Columns was $2. Yep. So I think it was a pretty good haul to start out with. I mean, you got a fighting game, a puzzle game, and Pac-Man, of course. Like, you couldn't get really any better than that. And I like all three of those. I actually never played the first Mortal Kombat before, so I think that was pretty fun. Or actually, I've never played Columns either. I like them all so far, but like I kind of felt like they weren't really enough. Like I just kind of got bored with all of them. Like Mortal Kombat 1, for example, it's a pretty fun game. Like it's not horrible at all. It's just really, really hard. You won't believe it, man. It is so difficult just to beat the story mode. Like even on the easiest difficulty, I still struggle to. I don't know, like get past I get near the end, but I don't really finish it. And you just lose all your continues. I'd say Street Fighter 2 is a lot better than that, but we'll get there. Columns? It's pretty good. It's different from Tetris because you have to sort of line them up, and they're always straight. You don't shape the pieces the way you want to fill in. You want to match 3 or 4. No, yeah, you want to match 3. Yeah, you want to match 3 pieces all at once, and then they disappear. It's not about filling the rows. It's about the colors for all of them. And I think it's pretty fun and addicting as well. But I just, it's like any puzzle game. I just kind of get bored of it after a little while. And that's nothing against Columns. It's pretty fun too. And Miss Pac-Man is Miss Pac-Man. Although this version is pretty cool. I also played the Super Nintendo version, but this version, along with the Super Nintendo version, has a cool feature where like you can change the maps to make them like the mazes, to make them like crazy. You can make them big, small, or even like super small. You can change, like you get this like speed boost, change the amount of lives you got. Like there's lots of customization that you can do to make Pac-Man as fun as you want, and I think that's really cool. But with those three, it kind of got a little boring. And I was thinking, well, why am I collecting the Genesis? And that's for Sonic. So next on my journey was Sonic Spinball, baby! Everybody loves Sonic Spinball, right? Right? Nobody likes Sonic Spinball. Sonic Spinball is a game that is a game. It exists. Nah, I'm just kidding. I think Sonic Spinball's alright. It was cool. I mean, I'm gonna try and get every single Sonic game for the Genesis, but this was just the landmark on the way there. It was $2.99, so I mean, would you really pay any more for Sonic Spinball? The game's 4 levels long, and for like a Sonic pinball kind of game. It's alright. The music's good, except for the options menu. You know, I have a soft spot for it. It's just very weird. It's a very weird game, but I think that's the magic of it, is that it's just weird. I think I have like 5 different versions of this game. So what I was really looking for the most was a platformer, or just any kind of platformer, but mainly Sonic. The Sonic games on the Genesis, because that's my main goal here, is to collect all of the Sonic Genesis games, just so I can, say I own them. What was next on my journey? Sonic 1, baby! Yeah, really beaten up copy of it. Sonic 1 is a fine game. It's an okay game. It's not too bad. It's really just kind of first game syndrome most of the time. You know, you've got really decent levels like Green Hill, of course, where the game peaks, and then amazing levels like Labyrinth and Marble Zone. Actually, I would say Marble Zone is actually worse than Labyrinth, but I'll save that for like a actual talk about Sonic 1. Sonic 1, I mean, playing it over again using debug mode on the Genesis is so cool, but I gotta say, I do appreciate it a little bit more after owning it on the Genesis. And, it's still like a 6 out of 10 game, but I mean, I like it still. It's Sonic 1. I mean, it did it all. It started it, So, I mean, I think it's still pretty cool, except it's aged a bit. And compared to the other games, it's not as good. And I picked this up for about $10 as well. So, I mean, Sonic 1 is definitely worth $10, I would say. I would like to look for games in their cases, but if it has to be cartridge only, then I don't really mind. But there is a way to change all that. When I was looking for Sonic 1, I also stumbled across one other game, Street Fighter 2. I think it's a Special Championship Edition. Man, I love this game. I've never actually beat Street Fighter 2 before until I played this. Oh man, is it crazy fun. It's so much better than Mortal Kombat 1. It's more fair. I was able to beat the story mode twice with I think I picked like Blanca and then Chun-Li. Oh man, it's just awesome. It's awesome to play this game on a Genesis, and it runs perfectly. And this is probably my favorite way of playing Street Fighter 2. Now I think about it, but man, yeah, I picked this one up for $10 as well. Total steal, honestly. It works perfectly. Some games that I own, like Sonic 1, takes a few times to boot up because it's it's an old Genesis, but I think that this game just runs perfectly. I think 9 times out of 10 it'll work just fine. But they're probably thinking, Sky, you have so many Genesis games. Where are you going to put them? Thank you, person that never asked. I know exactly where I'm going to put them. Actually, I have no idea where I'm going to put them. So that's why I made this. So, yeah, I decided that this was the best alternative, and, well, the cheapest alternative, to storing my loose Genesis games. What is this? Well, it's a hunk of cardboard, that's what it is. I tried my best to make it look aesthetically pleasing, like the top of the Genesis. I mean, I didn't bother painting the inside, just in case, I didn't want to get any paint all over the games themselves, but, so yeah, this little contraption I made holds Genesis games. It does the job, and I think it looks pretty decent on the shelf. For a temporary way of just storing Genesis games, I think this works pretty cool, and, it took me a while to build it, so I'm pretty proud of it, honestly. What's the best part about Christmas? Video games, of course. So yeah, my uncle got me 2 awesome games here. Well, Task from Escape from Mars, it's alright. It's a bit hard to see where you're going. But the main thing I asked for was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not only did I asked for just a loose copy. I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, totally. He gave me a physical copy of it. And it was, it has the manual and everything. I'm pretty sure this is from Amazon. This, it just looks like a reprinted copy. It looks brand new, but this definitely probably wouldn't be from eBay. But yeah, and I just was so surprised when I opened the package that it was like the Genesis cases are super small. But man, just having the aesthetic, this poster right here on the cover, oh man, it's just perfect. All of this is perfect. Sonic 2 is a spectacular game. Absolutely excellent. 100% better than the first game. To finally have a really good Sonic 1 is fine, but to have a really great platformer on my Genesis was amazing. And what did I do the next day? So yeah, I bought some cool new stuff. I got Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 together, man. That total was, they were about 20, Sonic and Knuckles was $30, and then Sonic 3 was $25. But honestly, I didn't really care about the price. I just needed to have them both. And the fact that I was able to find both of them out in the wild in my local retro video game store was so cool. I also bought Castle of Illusion with Mickey Mouse. I have yet to play this one, but it was pretty pricey. It was $32, so, but I heard good things about it from the people there. Don't do me wrong, please. So yeah, also got a cool inbox copy for this one. Yeah, I can't wait to play this one as well. But yeah, same day, the head honcho of this show, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Man, to get this thing running was kind of a pain in the ass. So, I paid $55 for it, but it didn't really work very well. I tried to lock on Sonic and Knuckles with any of the other games, and it just was not working. It was just giving me Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which led me to believe that the inside, the top card, the lock-on part for Sonic and Knuckles was dirty. And it was. I took Q-tip in there, some rubbing alcohol, and man, was it filthy. It was absolutely disgusting. So yeah, cleaned that up, and I did it again, and it kept crashing. And it kept bugging out with Sonic 3 on there, and it would delete my save data. So I was like, what the hell? Now I spent so much money on this, I gotta find a way to clean this. So I kept cleaning, and nothing was really working. And yeah, I was like, well, what do I do? But I thought the problem was the connection between Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3. The problem was just Sonic 3. I was never expecting that. So I pretty much stayed up like all night trying to clean Sonic and Knuckles when the real problem was Sonic 3. Completing the trilogy was awesome. It's just like, it feels like the end to the collection, but I still want to buy more Genesis games. But like, having most of the Sonic games on here is so awesome, and I couldn't be more grateful to have all these guys and play them on authentic hardware. That's the real reason. It's just having these on authentic hardware just feels right to play these games. Like, I love Mega Collection for GameCube and PS2, but man, and even Origins is alright. This is just on a whole nother level of awesome. And I do plan on getting Sonic 3D Blast as well. Sonic Spinball. Man, what else do I have to say about Sonic Spinball? How do you keep talking about Sonic Spinball? Well, I've got a story for you. This game, trying to get this game, almost killed me. True story. So, one of my local retro video game stores was about 10.5 miles away. And I like running quite a bit, but, it was kind of a blizzard outside. And I really wanted to go that day because I was off work. And I was like, well, if I'm going to go, it's got to be now. What if somebody takes the game? What if somebody takes this $2 game, so I decided to run there. Bad idea in a blizzard. Oh man, I just felt like so sick trying to get there. And when I finally got there, man, I just felt like my lungs were just filled with cold air. I was coughing up a storm. I got it. I got Sonic Spinball. This mediocre, terrible, actually, pinball game, man. I had it. And then I ran back. And I swear to God, I felt like I was going to die by the time I got home. But, I did it anyway. 10 miles there, 10 miles back. The real question is, was it worth almost killing yourself for Sonic Spinball? No. So yeah, that's my Sega Genesis collection so far. And I'll make a new video later, just to see how many games I've got since then. And I think it's quaint and small. It's everything I need. And I'm satisfied with it so far. Too bad I still have terrible spending habits, and will probably buy more than I actually need.
So, got an update on 2 games. I got Vector Man for the Genesis the day after. And, yeah, it's pretty cool. You can do, like, double jumps, shooting. This one's got, like, a really interesting story. It's, like environmentalism. It's pretty cool. Like, not a bad game at all. And I think it's definitely worth playing. And for $10, I mean, definitely couldn't go wrong at all. And then I got something else. Very unfortunate. Somebody needs to give me help.